You think a theme park makes its money on the ticket. It doesn't. The ticket has one job: get you through the gate. Because the moment you're inside, you're standing in the most carefully designed spending trap ever built. And the gate was the cheap part. The most expensive theme park ever built cost around $7 billion. But the company that owns the biggest park on Earth makes more from what you eat, buy, and sleep in than from the ride you came for. So where does the money really come from? Let's open the machine. Every theme park you've ever walked into is a money machine, engineered down to the churro cart. Today, we take it apart. First, what one of these costs to build. Then what it costs to run a small city that runs on magic and diesel. And then the part nobody explains. The 4 engines that turn a day of fun into a fortune. The last one having almost nothing to do with the rides. By the end, you'll walk into any park on Earth and read it like a balance sheet. Start with the price tag. First thing to understand, a modern theme park is not a fairground. It's a small city that happens to have rides in it. Take Epic Universe, the newest giant, just outside Orlando. It opened in 2025 and cost an estimated $7 billion, the most expensive theme park ever built. Its owner called it the single biggest investment the company had ever made in parks. $7 billion. More than a nuclear power plant. More than the most expensive stadium on Earth. To build a place people visit for a day. The rides, the coasters, the dark rides, the thing you waited 2 hours for, are only a slice of that spend. Most of the money goes into everything around the rides, the streets, the lands, the hotels, the restaurants, the queues built to hold thousands of people comfortably while they wait. Because the park isn't designed to thrill you, it's designed to hold you, and to keep your wallet open the entire time. Hold that thought. To understand the machine, you first have to understand what it costs to run. A big theme park is one of the most expensive things on Earth to operate. For one reason, the illusion never turns off. Every day the gates open, a flagship park runs like a small city. Tens of thousands of staff, ride operators, cooks, cleaners, performers, engineers, security. The rides need constant inspection and maintenance, because a single failure is a headline. The landscaping is manicured overnight. The trash vanishes before you see it. A flagship resort can employ tens of thousands of people and spend hundreds of millions a year keeping the place spotless. Then the energy, the water, the constant refurbishment. Rides get rebuilt. Lands get replaced. The park you visit next year is never quite the park you visited this year, because standing still is death. Guests only come back for something new. On paper, this looks brutal. A $7 billion build, tens of thousands of employees. A machine that has to be rebuilt, cleaned, and reinvented forever. And yet the biggest theme parks are some of the most profitable businesses in entertainment. Here's how. Start with the engine. Everyone walks right past. The truth about the ticket is simple. At most big parks, admission is only about half the money, somewhere around 55 to 65%. The rest comes from what you do after you're inside. And inside is where the machine works. Once you're through the gate, you are a captive customer. You can't leave to find a cheaper lunch. You can't bring your own. So the $12 bottle of water, the $18 meal, the $60 hoodie, you pay it. Food and drink alone make up roughly 14 to 17% of a park's money. Merchandise, another 6 to 10. Those are the highest margin things in the building. A branded souvenir, a funnel cake, a specialty drink in a light-up cup. The markup runs 70 to 85%. The ride costs a fortune to build and maintain. The churro next to it costs almost nothing and sells for $6. At the biggest parks, attendance recently fell. Fewer people came through the gate, and revenue went up anyway. Record profits. How? They needed each person already inside to spend more, and you did. Now the second engine, the most quietly brilliant one in the park. The line. That 2-hour wait you've been standing in. For decades, the line was a cost. Dead time that made guests miserable. The line isn't a problem. The line is inventory. So they started selling the one thing the park manufactures for free, your time back. Pay extra, and you skip the line. Buy the premium tier, and you skip most of them. Hire a private guide, and you never wait at all. At one park, this line-skipping system pulled in over $700 million in a few short years, pure add-on. The park builds the line. The park controls how slow it moves. And the park sells you the cure for the problem it designed. It's a product with two prices. Free if you have time, expensive if you have money. This is where a day trip becomes a vacation you can't escape. The biggest parks don't want you for a day. They want you for a week, and they want you to never leave the property. The flagship resort in Florida sits on roughly 25,000 acres, nearly the size of San Francisco, with tens of thousands of its own hotel rooms. Once you check into one of those hotels, the bubble seals. Your breakfast is theirs. Your dinner is theirs. The gift shop in the lobby is theirs. The bus to the park is theirs. So you don't rent a car and discover the cheaper world outside the gates. For 3, 4, 5 days, almost every dollar you spend stays inside the kingdom and never touches a competitor. That's why the hotels aren't a side business. They're the walls of the trap. A guest staying on site spends far more than one who drives in for the day, because a guest on site has nowhere else to spend. So, the captive wallet, the sold back time, the sealed kingdom, powerful engines. But even all of that isn't the biggest reason the smart money builds theme parks. That's the last engine, and it has almost nothing to do with fun. This is the reveal that changes how you see the whole thing. Go back to that 25,000-acre resort. The secret most guests never learn. Most of it is empty. Well over half of that land has never been developed. Why would a company buy a space nearly the size of San Francisco and leave most of it as forest and swamp? Because when the park was built, its founder had watched cheap motels and diners swarm the edges of his first park and pocket all the money from crowds he created. So the second time, he bought everything. Every acre for miles, so no one else could ever build at his gates. That land bank is a fortune held in reserve, a moat of dirt. Every hotel, every restaurant, every dollar spent near the park is captured by the park, because the park owns the ground it would sit on. Walk through the park again and look at what you're actually inside. It's not a collection of rides, it's a life-size advertisement. Every character you hug, every land you photograph, every toy your kid drags to the checkout is selling you the movies, the shows, the merchandise, the streaming subscription, a machine that keeps earning long after you've driven home. The park doesn't just sell a day, it sells the story, over and over, for the rest of your life. An old fairground made money when you rode the rides. A modern theme park makes money on your lunch, your wait, your hotel, the ground beneath your feet, and the story you take home, whether you ride anything or not. Let's total it up. Here's the machine scorecard for a flagship theme park. For a flagship operator, the Parks and Experiences business alone can throw off around $10 billion in operating profit a year, most of it made after the gate. Because the genius of the modern theme park isn't the coaster, or the castle, or the fireworks, it's that they turned a day of fun into a wallet with nowhere to run. Sitting on land they'll cash in for a century. The ride gets you in the gate. Everything after the gate is the machine. The happiest place on earth always wins, but not for the reason you think. If this changed how you see a theme park, imagine what's hiding inside every other giant you walk into. Next time, we open up the airport, the building where the flights are almost a side hustle, and the real money is the shops you walk past to reach your gate. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and tell me in the comments, which money machine should we open next? Every giant thing you see hides a money machine. We open it. See you next time.